Hey, in our previous video series called Foundations, Pastor Ross unpacked how starting your life with a solid foundation is crucial to doing life well. If you missed it, click the link below and go and check it out. But now we want to move on to this idea of maybe you know who God is and you've received Jesus into your life and you want to take the next step in your journey with God. Well, the next step to building a house is taking something like bricks or blocks and building up the walls and building up the structure. And I don't know about you, but my life has kind of looked more like a bunch of broken bricks, not whole bricks that are able to build a house out of. But the beauty of knowing Jesus is that He takes these broken bricks and He turns us into something that's usable, that you can build a house with, that you can build a great life with. And the Bible actually describes us as living stones. When we receive Jesus, we become living stones that He builds His house with. In this series, Pastor Ross is going to unpack how you can start to become a living stone in the hands of Jesus. How you receive from Him, and as you receive, you are empowered to become that living stone that He can build something great with.
In our part of the world in Queensland, most of our houses are built with bricks or blocks. Each block, however, has to be whole. We don't use broken blocks, we use good blocks. But here's the truth. Most of us, and I know for myself, I've been a broken block. But you know what? God has a way of putting together something that seemed like rubble so that it becomes what the Bible calls a living stone. And so living stones, that refers to a person who actually has got hope, who understands that he's got a purpose or a destiny, and that he's got belonging. When these things are in place, because we've got good foundations, you know what? We're ready to be part of a building. There's a story about how Jesus visited a man called Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector. And in those days, tax collectors were not very popular. In fact, he was most unpopular, largely because he was a crook. But Zacchaeus sees Jesus, but Jesus actually sees him and says to him, Zacchaeus, I want to come home to your place. I'm coming home to your house. This was radical because here is Jesus inviting himself to meet with somebody who knows all about condemnation. He knows all about his reputation. Others knew his reputation, and Zacchaeus was a man who was living with a lot of shame and a lot of condemnation. Jesus, though, visits his home. And when he comes into his home, he doesn't even mention anything that Zacchaeus has done. He just sits down with him. And Zacchaeus, as a natural response, says, wow, you know I've done things wrong, and I'm willing to put those things right. And that day, Jesus then said to him, Zacchaeus, you and your household are saved this day. I love that story because Jesus didn't bring condemnation to Zacchaeus. Sometimes we feel condemnation, but God in heaven is bigger than weighing on us the guilt and the shame that often comes with condemnation. Zacchaeus received that day no condemnation. And I reckon this is a key for us to be able to download, if you like, the foundations of who God is, and then to say to ourselves, God is not here to condemn me. He's come to help me. In fact, Jesus said, I haven't come to condemn the world, I've come to save the world. This is really a crucial thing that resonates with the heart of every human being, because we've all done things wrong, we all feel bad, and yet heaven doesn't come with a message to say, you are bad. Rather, He comes and says, Jesus is good, and because of His goodness, we can be made good. I love the story of Zacchaeus because he and his household now could build their lives on a brand new foundation. You know, Zacchaeus received what Jesus had to offer. And God doesn't take away our free will. In fact, He offers us life, but we have to receive it. And one of the most powerful things we can do is not work to try and get things right, but rather to receive what Jesus has already put right. And this is a huge thing, because we're inclined to want to try and straighten crooked paths. but actually it's too hard for us. And so when we learn to receive, that's what the scripture says, to as many as received him, they become the sons of God. And so it's all about receiving. It's not about our effort. It's not about hard work. It's not even trying harder. Nothing wrong with those things in themselves, but they don't bring freedom from no condemnation or from condemnation. Receiving from Jesus brings us that freedom. Sometimes we make it hard to receive. There's only one thing that really is required for us to receive. And that's when we say, Lord, I have a need. I put it another way, we humble our own hearts. And we are prepared to say, Lord, I've tried all sorts of ways, but I'm ready to try you. And will you receive me? And you know, God looks at the heart. It's not even the words that we have to say, but he looks at the heart. And he sees a heart that is hungry and that is desperate, and that all we have to do is acknowledge just where we're at. We don't have to try and fix ourselves. God will do all of that in us and through us because he loves us. If you would like to explore this topic, particularly about receiving, a little bit more, please click the link below, and also we'd be very happy to meet with you if you want to engage further.